This is Empowering Homeschool Conversations, provided by SPED Homeschool. Go to spedhomeschool.com to get resources and support for teaching your unique learner at home.
And then they're critically important for emotional and social growth, and the brain maturity to manage our emotions, control impulses, and communicate. Those are things that require the brain to be mature, as does, it's not on this list, but the other thing, the brain has to be developed at least to a certain level of maturity in order for a child to be still and focus and be able to pay attention. You cannot do that without these movements. You just don't have the ability to do it unless you have developed a certain level of brain maturity. I mean, you could force yourself, and children try and force themselves to do it because they're being asked to, sit still, pay attention. And I asked a little boy one time, because I asked him to lay down on my table so I could check his feet reflexes. And his eyes started getting really big, like he was scared. And I said, "What does it feel like when I asked you to lie down?" And he said, "Like I'm going to explode." And this is a 5-year-old. And he didn't hesitate to answer. He knew right away. So it's incredibly uncomfortable to try and function when you don't have your foundation in place. And
that makes so much sense.
Of course, you have to focus and pay attention to be able to learn. And to access the higher parts of the brain, you need the lower parts to be developed. And so that's the gist of what we're doing with these movements. We're trying to replicate the development that may have been hindered, that had gaps in it. Like, for example, if there's been any just so many children are struggling now. And it's not just children with special needs that are identifiable. All the children across the board are struggling. It's just that the ones with identified special needs are struggling more because they probably had more hindrances. And I really want to just clarify that this is not parents' fault. This is the world we live in. We live in a world with extreme levels of toxicity in our food, in our water, in our air. We live in a world that has a lot of electromagnetic frequencies and pollution that is probably very much disrupting our health. We live in a world where the time of pregnancy is not held sacred and it's not protected the way it should be. And things like parents don't often know because they don't understand. Like an ultrasound could be problematic. That's what the research is showing, but it's the standard of care. Right. The cell phones, the Wi-Fi, all of it is disruptive to our development. And so pretty much all the kids are struggling with gaps in development. It's just a matter of degree. And it could be a severe degree or very mild. Yes. But it's a huge thing. And it's not, it's a hard subject to talk about because it's so sad. And it was like all I could think about for about 10 years. Oh, no. I know. I couldn't stop thinking about it. But then I was like, okay, I have to focus on this is the one area of solution that you can really make a huge impact. And so anyway, the last point there was balance and posture, which is going to relate to our next slides. But if we are going to have the ability to be upright, aligned, and without forcing ourselves to be upright, to be free of tension and strong, that is a function of brain maturity, which is a function of whether or not you got the full repertoire of all these different movements from the womb and infancy and toddlerhood. So that's going to make more sense for the next slides, because what you're going to see is, I think I have it coming, right?
Yep, let me see. There we go.
So
posture and core strength.
This is Empowering Homeschool Conversations, provided by SPED Homeschool. Go to spedhomeschool.com to get resources and support for teaching your unique learner at home.